What do I do? Dumbledore gave me this epic quest to unshatter the One Ring, but literally everything is trying to kill me. If only there was a way to fight things, but from far away. Ow. Ow! What are you... Wait. Wait, you're way over there. How did you... Elden Ring, but with only a bow. Can it be done? Yeah, probably. I mean, I beat this Elden Lord Forsaken game with only throwing daggers. Bow only should be pretty easy, right? We actually get a choice in starting class. The bandit starts with a short bow, and the samurai starts with a long bow. I'm dedicating this run to my friend Axel Zeron, and since I know he hasn't come to terms with his inner weeb, bandit it is. I did my best to make this character look like you, Axel, but this is the closest I was able to get. That being said, there is one thing I can get right. Max body hair. Ah, that didn't make much of a difference, okay. We take the golden seed and we're off. So we're on a quest to restore the One Ring in the pits of that golden tree over there, just like everyone's favorite fantasy movie, Harry Potter. You don't remember this story? Well, it's Legolas' solo quest without the Fellowship. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. After making a brief stop at Carley, we can see he sells an infinite amount of regular arrows. That's good. But we're broke. That's bad. And it's here we make the first discovery of the run. Bows kinda suck. Low damage and a really long windup aren't a good combination. However, if you jump and draw an arrow, you can get it out a lot faster. Hopefully that'll be enough to carry us through literally this whole quest. I actually picked the short bow because of the weapon art, Barrage. It's low damage, but it lets us put a lot of arrows into our enemies fast, which is going to be necessary later. For now, we meet up with Hermione and she gives us Shadowfax. With this, we can ride around the Kanto region. How many fandoms do you think I'm going to piss off in this video? The first part of our quest involves riding around and picking up as many golden seeds and sacred tears as we can find. After that, we make our way to Stormgate. Because believe it or not, I actually did my research before starting this run, so I know there are two talismans that I want. The first is the Arrow's Reach Talisman. This will increase the range of our arrows. Honestly, it's probably not going to be that helpful because no boss is just going to stand around and let me pelt it with arrows from afar, but hey. The next one is the Arrow's Sting Talisman located in a tower in southeastern Caelid by the Impassable Bridge. This talisman will increase the attack power of arrows and bolts, much more useful. Let's test it out. So without the talisman we do 43 damage, and with it we do 60. Awesome. I might as well be firing cardboard darts out of a wet noodle at this point, so let's go upgrade the bow. In Liurnia of the Lakes, we head down to the Rhea Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. The boss here drops the smithing stone bell bearing, so we can buy some smithing stones to make our bow a little bit more strong. The problem is that the Crystallians have a super high resistance to anything but strike damage. By like a lot. We actually just straight up didn't have enough arrows to kill the boss the first time, so we visit our old friend, the bowling ball. After a little farm, we buy a full stack of regular and fire arrows, then it's up for round 2. After about 50 arrows, we break the Crystallion's guard, then it's only a matter of time before he goes down. Back at the Round Table Hold, we finally get to meet the Fellowship of the Elden Ring. We have Edgy Boromir, Merry and Pippin after they had too much old Toby, Aragorn's lesser-known brother, Erthagorn, Arwen, not Sauron, and last but not least, just Gimli. We have Gimli boost our bow to a +5, then it's off to fight Goatman Mick Smack Talks a lot. Oh, I don't have the best feeling about this run anymore. So while we deal with Margit, let's talk about this actual challenge. As you can see, bows don't hit very hard. Yes, they do have the range advantage, but not only are most boss arenas pretty small, but most bosses are actually really aggressive and just get up in your face anyway. I'm not picturing it being as bad as consumables only, solely because of jump attacks in the Barrage Ash of War, but just like that run, we are limited by how many times we can attack before we just auto-lose. Fortunately, that limit is 198 arrows, and then we can actually menu if we need more. I am a little worried about late game bosses, but that's future me's problem. Hey, look at that! Axel the Legolas cosplayer has beaten Margit. There isn't much else to do right now, so we make our way straight to Godric. Oh cool, he can deflect arrows. That's not a problem at all. We were doing great until he decided to spit fire at the ground and we're kind of allergic to fire. So this failed attempt at Godric took about 100 arrows, and he's only at half health. This is not looking so good for the rest of this run, but we hunker down, drop some more balls into the abyss, restock on arrows, and try again. This time, we played way safer and only took shots we knew would hit Godric, and he goes down. Back in Liurnia the Lakes, we ping Calagon in the head and decide it's not worth it, then grab the key to Hogwarts. Before we raid the Academy though, we head up to the Altus Plateau and into the sealed tunnel to grab the second Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing. This will let us upgrade our bow a little bit further, not that we can do that right now anyway. Now we head to Hogwarts and show these Gryffindorks that Lord of the Rings is the superior franchise. The Red Wolf of Radagon is always a worry in a projectile-based run because he jumps everywhere, but joke's on him, jumping everywhere is my entire strategy. Next up, Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. Heh. 50 points to Ravenclaw, am I right? So I was a little worried about this fight, only because of the same limitations as consumables only. Renala is a multi-phase fight, and we only have so many arrows. Fortunately for us, there isn't really any danger in Phase 1, unless you're not looking out for the falling chandelier. Phase 2 starts off pretty easy. Our arrows can even stagger her. The problem is when her summons start to show up. Most of them are pretty easy to avoid if you just keep running in circles, but the Bloodhound Knight is able to close the distance with a lunging attack. This fight basically turns into the world's slowest bullet hell game, but eventually Renala goes down, proving Galadriel is the best waifu. I decided we should grab the composite bow in hopes that it would increase our damage, even if just a little. We make it a plus 12, but the problem is the composite bow has the mighty shot Ash of War. Sure, it does a lot of damage, but it leaves us wide open, so it's off to the base of Mount Doom to kill a scarab and get the barrage Ash of War. Yeah, that is pretty good damage, actually, but it's just too slow. Next, we ride for Altus Plateau and take on a Nazgul who didn't get the memo about wearing all black. It was here I made a couple important discoveries for the run. Number 1, you can actually fire 2 arrows in a jump, one during the actual jump and another as a follow-up, essentially allowing 2 arrows for the time of 1. And number 2, lightning hurt. This is also the first time we tried out some status arrows. Yeah, those are a thing, and I'll have to explain a little more later because we didn't actually have very many, so for now we fight this glamtastic Nazgul the old school way. Oh, I also learned you can fire an arrow after a roll, and that'll probably be really helpful later. Ah, the Royal Capital. So beautiful, so serene. Can I have a great bow that can fire that thing? Normally we just jump through this area and ignore everything else, but there's actually an item we want, the black bow. Yeah, we're changing our bow again. The black bow is essentially a long bow that can be fired like a short bow. In other words, it's a short bow with more range, and it even has the barrage Ash of War, so that's good. I don't know how useful it'll be, but it fits the cosplay we're going for the most, so it's fine. We climb the dragon where we eventually meet Gandalf, who didn't skip leg, arm, or core day. Also, he has an axe. So Gandalf the Golden over here is probably the fairest fight in the whole game. All of his moves are clear with proper windows for dodging and jumping, and you know how much I like jumping. Unfortunately, I learned right fast that if I jump too close to him, he just kinda steps on me. Either way, after a well-fought battle of running away and shooting arrows, Godfrey goes down. Morgott is a little more challenging. He's way more agile and his chains are a lot faster. I also keep getting smacked by this attack when I really shouldn't. We can't just fire arrows at him whenever we want because he will dodge them. This is also the point where I noticed my fire arrows are doing less damage than my regular arrows. Why the flaming arrow is doing less damage than a normal arrow is beyond me. Maybe it's cauterizing the wound on entry, I don't know. In the end, we draw our arrow, Morgott charges us, and he falls. I think it's time for our mandatory festival visit. They told me I was late, but an elf is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Tar Scourge Rodan is a huge target, so hitting him won't be an actual problem. I was more worried about how much damage we would do, but surprisingly, it's not that bad. But the same can be said for him. We got wombo comboed into oblivion. We could have crafted some poison or bleed arrows, but I thought Rodan reserved a warrior's death. That is, a death by 1,000 toothpicks. Well fought, General Rodan. Well fought. Heading north to Castle Sol, we take on Commander Nail. This fight took a few tries because, surprise, shields are super effective against arrows. Oh, also big man with 2 swords make big hurt. Also big man with lightning foot make hurt. Okay, so it took several tries and nearly all of our arrows, but we style on the commander, and I guess it's finally time we address the elephant in the room. Every boss from here on is either going to have a large health pool, multiple phases, or both, meaning our measly 200 arrows isn't going to be enough to kill them. Fortunately, not only are there a wide variety of arrows to use, a lot of them also have status effects tied to them. We got frost arrows, rot arrows, bleed arrows, sleep arrows, poison arrows. Better poison arrows! Honestly, the hardest thing in the boss fights from here on might be menuing. At any rate, most of these arrows can't be bought, so we're going to need to be on the lookout for crafting materials. But first, I think it's finally time to complete our cosplay. We head to Ordina Liturgical Town and pick up the Black Knife set. We look like an edgy teenage Legolas who dyed his hair then shaved it because Daddy Elrond wouldn't let us play with the hobbitses. What? Who did I even write that joke for? Oh, whatever. Back in Limgrave, we throw ourselves off a cliff, go cave diving, and pick up the Shamshir. We can't actually use this sword as it would go against the bow only, but it is the closest weapon to an Elvish short sword. And with that, we have become edgy Legolas. Back on track, we head to the consecrated snowfield and take on the Sanguine Noble. I'm sure this is going to be a tough fight. After all, NPCs like to dodge our projectiles outplayed. We opened up Mogwin's palace, but we aren't going to fight him just yet. Instead, we return to Volcano Manor to become the terror of NPCs everywhere. Our first target, Old Knight Istvan. Yeah, this is just to really hammer home that dodging thing NPCs do. At first, I was actually worried about these NPC fights, but we do a surprising amount of damage. Second target, Riley the Idol. Once again, the small arena is kind of a problem, but we show her the bow superiority over crossbows. Ignore that. After making her into a pincushion, it's on to our last target, Juno Hoslow. In the end, Darth Legolas proves too much for Juno, and with that, we can meet Rykard. But we aren't going to do that yet because we are not ready. First, we go around the world collecting as many cookbooks as we can. This will let us expand the amount of arrows we can use, something that's practically necessary for the fights to come. Additionally, there are a few more arrow types we can just buy, so we farm this big chicken for a few thousand runes, then we go buy a full supply of serpent arrows, which are the better poison arrows, and dwelling arrows, which cause magical damage. With that, it's time to farm. We have several damaging types of arrows, but what we really care about are the status ones. So what do? Well, we pick a bunch of flowers, collect some lightning bugs, pick some more flowers, slaughter thousands of innocent sheep, pick even more flowers. One of these things is not like the other. At the end of our grinding session, we had 200 of each arrow-specific material, like blood roses and fulgur blooms, and a whopping 2,000 thin beast bones harvested from sheep. I'm literally banned in New Zealand now thanks to that, but the silver lining is that we can make a lot of different kinds of arrows. The plan was to just craft a bunch of bleed or rot and frost arrows and then knock the bosses down. However, right in the middle of recording this, patch 1.04 dropped. Among the changes was a bug where bosses with multiple phases would instantly die if they phase transitioned while under a status effect. I don't have any footage of this happening because I actually decided to play so cautiously in all of the affected boss fights that I essentially pushed them into phase 2 with only normal arrows. It's like a mini challenge inside of a big challenge. Anyway, enough talk. Do y'all remember that part in Harry Potter and the Revenge of the Sith where Legolas climbs Mount Doom and solos the Rancor? Yeah, me too. So we pelt him with many arrows to get him through phase 1, and then when he's down on one leg, we just rain bleed arrows on him until eventually we stand victorious. Jumping on Shadowfax, we ride up the big kiln where we talk to Hermione again, and she decides to burn the big tree down. Man, Treebeard would be pissed. We head into Weathertop post-Nazgul frat party where we face off with two of the most deadly enemies in the game, Jabba the Hutt and Skinny Jabba the Hutt. Coming off my consumables only run, I knew the best plan was to attack the Godskin Noble and just let the Apostle do whatever he wanted, but once again this boss is affected by the 1.04 bug. If one of them is revived while the other one has a status effect, they just die. So normal and fire arrows for the whole fight. We line up one final shot and one final shot and they go down first try. Next up it's Legolas versus Professor Lupin. You know, just like in the third movie, Legolas and the Prisoner of Helm's Deep. Oh wait, sorry, he needs a wardrobe change. There, that's true to form. So I haven't really brought it up, but most of these late game bosses don't give a lot of time to menu. Even though we have upteen quintillion backup arrows, there isn't really any time to equip them. Case in point, Malekith here is a 10-time national acrobatic champion, and there just isn't a point in the fight when we can equip new arrows, at least not in phase 2. For the most part, we need to equip the new ones when the boss is almost beaten in phase 1, then just hope we have enough left for phase 2. At any rate, we line up one final shot, and Malakath goes down. We wake up on Tatooine, but before we go further, I think it's time to tie up some loose ends. We make our way through Ordina Liturgical Town, almost get out Legolas in the process, and then descend the Whomping Willow. Hey look, another Nazgul. This one couldn't afford the gold Oblivion horse armor, so she settled for silver. We rain poison and bleed on her until... Oh wait, that's not how the story's supposed to go. Let's try that again. We rain poison and bleed arrows on her until she falls to the mightiest elf wizard. We descend further, and further, and further, until finally we arrive at Éowyn, Blade of Sauron. Now this is a hard fight. We didn't have Bloodhound Step because I didn't remember the part of the book where Legolas starts flash stepping around like Goku, so Waterfowl was a real danger this whole time. Shouldn't be an issue because we're ranged, but is absolutely an issue because Malenia here dodges our arrows. So once again, we have to bait her into attacking, create some distance, then counterattack ourselves. Oh, do you remember that thing I mentioned like 45 seconds ago about needing to menu for our arrows? Yeah, it's on full display for this fight. We died. Several times in fact. But in the end, I found the winning strategy to be to start with regular and frost arrows, apply frost, then hit her with the regular ones for extra damage. When she was very close to going into phase 2, switch to fire and bleed arrows. Fire is to do a little chip damage, but mostly to make sure we have a fresh stock of 99, and bleed is, well, to bleed her. The best possible attack she can do in phase 2 is Scarlet Aeonia. The reason being is that we can just stand outside of the AoE and turn her into a pincushion. Specifically, we want to use Barrage with bleed arrows. The worst attack she can do is, well, any of them really, but her Phantom Spirits. This is just an overall difficult to dodge attack, unless you are already far away from her when she starts it. Other than those two changes, the fight remains mostly the same, lots of dodging and waiting for an opening, and then attacking when she decides to Rotflower. Honestly, I thought phase 2 would be way harder because of her increased aggression, but I actually got her on my first try that we got here. After a slight heart attack of realizing I ran out of arrows with that much health left, she goes down. We make a quick stop at the Second Church of Marika to show this medieval Darth Maul the power of friendship. And fire arrows. Then it's off to Mordor to take on Goat Jar Jar Binks the Blood God. I wasn't worried about this fight at all. I mean, in phase 1 he just kinda walks menacingly towards us. Phase 2 he gets wings because of course he does. Honestly, the biggest problem here is I keep dodging in the wrong direction to avoid his fire blood stuff. We might as well get one kill using the whole sniper archer thing, so we zoom in for a good look, and Mog goes down. Only the Great Basilisk remains. You remember, the one from Legolas in the Chamber of Grima Wormtongue. This is a gimmick boss. You're intended to use the Serpent Hunter Spear for this fight, but that's not an arrow, so I can't. And I don't have Mimic this time around, so what do? Well, my plan was to alternate between Frost and Bleed arrows because of the percent damage, but I still have to worry about the 1.04 bug. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I was able to get him into phase 2 without triggering it. The problem is we're almost out of bleed arrows. However, since it is phase 2, we could just pull out all the stops. We switched to the big poison arrows, and yes, the big, huge, venomous serpent god thing can be poisoned. Don't ask me why, I didn't design this game. We very narrowly get eaten. Sorry, Rykard, you're not cute enough for me to be okay with that. It takes basically our entire stack of bleed and frost arrows, and then some poison and fire arrows on top of that. But Rykard goes down. Back on Tatooine, we ascend the staircase and face off with not Sauron. He never learned the no monologuing rule, so we get a very clear first shot. Unfortunately, we never learned the rule that, magic hurts. But it's okay. Something plot armor, and oh look at that, Legolas has single-handedly saved Middle-earth. Frodo? Never heard of him. Aragorn? Who's that? Gandalf the... Oh, that's right, Gandalf the Sand User is here. Okay. It's time, old friend. I'm sure you all don't remember this fight, it was on the unreleased extended director's Snyder cut of the film, but to summarize, Gandalf becomes a pincushion, then sheds his weeb JoJo ways where he becomes Gandalf the Jacked One. This fight is epic. We run away from him the whole time. Eventually he gets tired and we put him down for a little nap and... Okay, that was a little embarrassing, but all that's left to do is enter this here burning tree and mend the one true ring, just like Dumbledore told me to. Oh, but first we gotta fight Ron Weasley. He's a little cranky on account of the fact that Hermione wanted to be our maiden. Guess he's the jealous type. Don't worry, Ron. I'm only into little scrappy redheads that wield axes. Which I just realized is still pretty close to your boss description here. Jokes aside, it's actually kind of annoying that Radagon can catch our arrows and throw them back at us. Since the Elden Beast is immune to literally every status effect, the plan was to basically frost and poison Radagon down and hope the 1.04 bug doesn't activate. I don't know if it would because they're technically two different bosses, but I just crossed my fingers and hoped. Fortunately for us, it didn't, and we face off against Man, I don't know at this point. How about the astral manifestation of the one hobbit that has to agree with his wife when Gandalf shows up? Yeah, that's good enough for me. I don't know why, but I actually got a really easy Elden Beast fight. He never did any of his explosions, Elden Stars, or even his grab. He basically only used the same 2 melee swings and then his fast magic arrow ability. We line up one final shot, and with that, our quest is complete. Edgelord Legolas has mended the one true Elden Ring and brought peace to Rohan. Man, George J.K. Tolkien really did a good job of adapting this game to the movies. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far and you don't hate me with every fiber of your being, thank you. This run was a lot of fun. I can fully recommend it to anyone that wants a medium challenge in this game, and I had an absolute blast writing the script. From start to finish, this video was fun to make, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. If y'all did like it, please consider giving a like and subscribing. It really helps me out, and drop what challenges you think I should do next time in the comments below, right next to all those comments about what I did to your favorite franchises. This character was dedicated to my friend Axel. He does a lot of cool craft stuff and occasionally streams games. He made this awesome Lord of the Rings inspired strop, which I didn't even know what a strop was until after he did that. A link to his video should be on screen now, but if it's not, it'll be in the description below. I stream all these challenge runs every weekend over on Twitch. You can find links to that and my socials below if you want to follow and get updates. But until next time, my friends, don't you dare go hollow.